One shot, one kill.
It's more than a motto, it's a legacy. Snipers are the silent shadows on the battlefield, feared and respected for over a century. With patience like monks and precision like surgeons, these elite marksmen have shaped modern warfare in ways you might not even imagine. Today, we'll uncover 10 shocking facts about snipers and their rifles, from battlefield myths turned reality to mind-bending shots that defy physics. Imagine lying motionless for hours, your target half a mile away, barely visible through your scope.
The wind is still. The tension? Palpable.
One shot, one chance, and even your heartbeat could be the thing that sends the bullet off course. That's why elite snipers are trained to shoot between heartbeats. Sounds like science fiction, but it's very real. At extreme distances, even the slightest body movement, a twitch in your finger, the subtle rise and fall of your chest, or the pulsing of blood through your fingertips, can send your round wide. So, they learn to time their breathing, align their sights, and press the trigger in that micro moment of stillness between one beat and the next. But here's the catch: this doesn't happen in a quiet room. In combat, the heart is racing, 160 beats per minute or more, especially under pressure. That turns this task from difficult to almost inhuman. To manage it, snipers undergo years of conditioning, both physical and psychological, to suppress adrenaline, control their breath, and maintain a state of hyper-focused calm, even when the battlefield is chaos. Some snipers use the 4-phase breathing technique: inhale, hold, exhale, hold. The shot is taken on that final hold, when the body is still, and the mind is laser-locked on the target. Add to that the ability to slow their heart rate through biofeedback, muscle control, and mental rehearsal, and you're looking at a skill set that borders on the meditative, almost monk-like. In sniper training, these moments are drilled over and over. Qualification rounds can last over an hour, and in finals, a sniper might take only 1 or 2 shots, because the mission isn't about volume. It's about perfection. This level of precision isn't just physical, it's philosophical. A sniper isn't just mastering marksmanship, they're mastering themselves. And that's what makes them truly dangerous. Not just the rifle.
Not just the range.
But the discipline to wait for the perfect heartbeat. If there were ever a sniper shot worthy of a movie scene, this would be it. In the early days of the Iraq War, Royal Marine Corporal Matt Hughes was faced with a shot so improbable, so shaped by the elements, that it sounds more like a legend than a battlefield report. But it was real, brutally, beautifully real. The mission was critical. An Iraqi combatant was holding off a vital Allied advance. The catch? A fierce gale was howling through the landscape, turning the air into an invisible battlefield of its own. To most, this wind would have made the shot impossible. But Hughes wasn't just any soldier. He was a marksman, trained not just in firepower, but in physics, instinct and mental clarity under fire. Armed with his L96A1 sniper rifle, he adjusted not just for distance, but for the force and angle of the wind. His calculations had to be razor-sharp, down to split degrees, because at the range he was shooting, the wind would blow his bullet off course by over 50 feet. So what did he do? He aimed 56 feet off target. He didn't aim at the enemy. He aimed at where the wind would carry the bullet, a seemingly empty space in the air. And when the shot cracked through the silence, the bullet did exactly what he predicted. It carved a graceful arc through the chaos, curving like a missile on rails, and landed with deadly precision, right in the enemy's chest.
Instant kill.
Mission secured. That's not luck. That's not guesswork. That's a perfect union of training, mathematics, and gut-level instinct, a shot that turned invisible forces into weapons. It's called reading the wind, and it's one of the most difficult skills any sniper must learn. Because bullets don't fly in a vacuum, they dance through shifting currents, crosswinds, air pressure changes, even heat rising from the ground. A sniper becomes part scientist, part artist, interpreting nature like a painter uses color and shadow. Matt Hughes' shot wasn't just about pulling a trigger. It was about trusting your tools, your training, and your mind, against all odds.
So, can you bend a bullet?
Not literally. But with the right rifle, the right read, and the right wind, you can bend reality just enough to make the impossible possible. After mastering wind and timing like Matt Hughes, there's another equally crucial element behind a perfect sniper shot: the cartridge itself. Because even with the best aim in the world, if your bullet can't go the distance, or stay consistent doing it, you're just sending metal into the wind. Enter the 7.62 by 51 mm NATO, also known in civilian circles as the 308 Winchester. This isn't just any round, it's the backbone of Western sniper doctrine. Adopted in the 1950s, it quickly became the gold standard for precision shooting across NATO forces.
And for good reason. The 62 NATO balances also right elements: range, accuracy, recoil control, and availability.
It travels flat and true, it's relatively affordable, and it performs well in both bolt-action and semi-automatic platforms. From rooftop overwatch positions to battlefield ridgelines, this round delivers reliable lethality at up to 800 to 1,000 meters, the sweet spot for military engagement ranges. But here's the interesting part: while NATO countries were standardizing this modern marvel, Russia was already ahead of the curve, and stuck to their own. Since 1891, Russian forces have relied on the 7.62x54 mmR, a rimmed cartridge that's slightly longer and has stood the test of 2 world wars, a Cold War, and countless modern conflicts. That's over 130 years of service, and it's still going strong today. Why? Because great design doesn't age, it endures. And that highlights something crucial about sniper rifles: the ammunition isn't just fuel, it's philosophy. A military's choice of round reveals how they train, how they fight, and what they value: versatility, standardization, or sheer staying power. So while Matt Hughes' shot curved through a storm and other snipers timed their breath to a heartbeat, none of that matters if the round can't do its part. The best snipers and best rifles are only as good as the cartridge they carry. In the world of long-range precision, fashionable isn't about flashy, it's about functional, proven, and deadly consistent. After exploring the science of bullets, breath, and battlefield physics, we now arrive at a feat so staggering, it nearly redefines what a sniper is capable of. In 2017, a Canadian sniper, whose name remains classified, took a shot that echoed around the world. Serving with Joint Task Force 2, Canada's elite Special Operations Unit, this marksman eliminated an enemy insurgent in Iraq from a jaw-dropping distance of 3,540 meters. That's over 2
miles.
Let that sink in for a moment.
This wasn't a test shot.
It wasn't a trick. It was a real-world, combat-confirmed, single-bullet kill. At that distance, the bullet took almost 10 full seconds to reach its target. 10 seconds where anything could have gone wrong: a gust of wind, a shift in the target stance, even a slight change in air temperature.
But it didn't.
Why? Because everything was calculated: atmospheric conditions, barometric pressure, humidity, temperature, elevation, and even the Coriolis effect, the Earth's rotation altering the bullet's path ever so slightly over that distance. This wasn't just marksmanship. This was engineering, physics, and absolute composure under pressure, all compressed into one trigger pull. The sniper was using a Macmillan TAC-50, chambered in 50 BMG, a rifle designed for extreme range with precision in mind. But even with that kind of hardware, no shot like this has ever been repeated in combat. It didn't just beat the previous record, it obliterated it. That previous title belonged to Craig Harrison, a British Army corporal who, in 2009, took down 2 Taliban machine gunners in Afghanistan from 2,475 meters using an Accuracy International L115A3. That shot held for nearly a decade, and was already considered near the limit of what's possible. But the Canadian kill? It pushed that limit so far, it became almost philosophical. Because now we have to ask, what is the true range of a sniper?
Is it 2 miles? 3? More?
We're no longer talking about just hitting a man-sized target. We're talking about defying physics, stretching human perception, and turning invisible math into lethal action. This shot didn't just make history, it redefined the boundaries of modern sniping. And it proved once again that in the right hands, with the right rifle and the right round, even the horizon isn't out of range. Long before thermal scopes, carbon fiber barrels, or adjustable cheek rests, there was a rifle that changed the battlefield with nothing but raw precision and revolutionary design.
Its name? The Whitworth Rifle.
Crafted in 1854 by British engineer Joseph Whitworth, this wasn't just another muzzleloader, it was a weapon decades ahead of its time. With hexagonal rifling and a 451 caliber bore, the Whitworth rifle introduced something no other firearm of its era had mastered: consistent long-range accuracy. At a time when most infantry rifles were lucky to hit a barn at 200 yards, the Whitworth could consistently strike targets at over 1,200 meters. That's sniper territory, over 3/4 of a mile, in the age of black powder and paper cartridges. It wasn't adopted en masse by the British Army, who found it too expensive and complex. But halfway across the Atlantic, during the American Civil War, Confederate sharpshooters saw its value, and wielded it with devastating effect. Armed with Whitworths, these early snipers became a new kind of threat: soldiers who didn't fight face-to-face, but instead silently stalked high-ranking officers, artillery crews, and scouts from unimaginable distances. In one famous incident, a Union general was killed by a Confederate sharpshooter from over 1,400 yards away, an unthinkable feat at the time. It was the beginning of a new doctrine, that one man with the right rifle and the right training could change the course of a battle without ever stepping into the chaos of the front line. The Whitworth rifle proved that accuracy could outweigh volume, and that strategy could live at the tip of a single bullet. From that point on, militaries around the world began investing in long-range precision. The age of the sniper had begun, not with fancy electronics or modular stocks, but with a visionary engineer, a hexagonal barrel, and a bold idea. So next time you see a modern sniper rifle capable of 1,000-meter hits, remember, it all started with a hand-loaded black powder beauty from the 1850s. Before sniper became a title whispered with respect and fear on modern battlefields, it had a much more humble, yet telling, origin. Back in the 1700s, British troops stationed in colonial India passed the time between campaigns by testing their shooting skills on a bird called the snipe. But this wasn't your average fowl. The snipe was a small, fast, and erratically flying game bird, notorious for zigzagging through the air, making it incredibly difficult to hit. So difficult, in fact, that only the most precise, patient, and skilled marksman could consistently bring one down. Thus, when a soldier managed to shoot a snipe in flight, he earned bragging rights, not just as a good shot, but as a sniper. What started as a nickname among hunting parties quickly took on a more serious connotation. As long-range warfare evolved, so did the need for soldiers who could shoot with that same mix of timing, calmness, and precision that hunting snipe demanded. The term stuck, and sniper was born. Meanwhile, over in Europe, a similar evolution in terminology was happening. The German military coined the term Scharfschütze, which literally translates to sharpshooter. It carried the same prestige and skill association, eventually influencing the English version we now know. But here's the poetic twist. Even today, the very qualities that defined a good snipe hunter, patience, awareness, timing, and a steady hand under pressure, are exactly what define a modern sniper. It's fascinating, isn't it? That a term born from quiet mornings in the woods, tracking a bird through tall grass, would become synonymous with some of the most feared and respected roles in modern warfare. The etymology reminds us that sniping is as much an art as it is a science, rooted in tradition, forged by necessity, and immortalized by those who could do what few others could. Make the impossible shot, when it matters most. If you ask a seasoned sniper to name their favorite rifle, chances are you'll hear a quiet pause, followed by a familiar phrase.
Well, it depends.
Because when it comes to sniper platforms, there are two dominant schools of thought, each with its own strengths, weaknesses, and battlefield philosophy, the classic bolt-action and the modern semi-automatic. Let's break it down. The bolt-action rifle is the old-school purist's weapon of choice. It's a manually operated system, requiring the shooter to lift and cycle the bolt between each shot.
Slower? Yes.
But that simplicity is its superpower. Fewer moving parts mean tighter tolerances, lighter weight, and extreme mechanical reliability. These rifles are typically more accurate at ultra-long distances, making them ideal for shots measured in thousands of meters, like Craig Harrison's 2,475-meter kill in Afghanistan. In many ways, bolt actions are the sniper's scalpel, precise, deliberate, deadly. They're built for the one shot that changes everything. But then there's the semi-automatic sniper rifle, often referred to as a designated marksman rifle, DMR, or semi-auto sniper system, SAS. These fire one round per trigger pull without the need to manually cycle the bolt. That speed and follow-up shot capability makes them invaluable in urban warfare, mobile operations, or when dealing with multiple moving targets. Semi-autos are heavier, slightly less accurate at extreme range, but in dynamic combat scenarios, they can be the better tool. Think urban combat in Fallujah, rooftop overwatch in Mogadishu, or convoy defense in Afghanistan. When mobility and rapid engagement are more important than absolute range, the semi-auto shines. Modern platforms like the M110 SAS, $417 Hong Kong dollars, and Barrett MR80 have proven that semi-autos can be precise too, especially with advancements in match-grade barrels and tuned gas systems. But even so, when the mission calls for surgical distance hits in harsh terrain, snipers still reach for bolt-action rifles.
The real dilemma?
Choosing the right tool for the right mission. Because a sniper isn't just a shooter, they're a tactical decision-maker. They have to think ahead. Am I going to need to disappear after one shot, or stay and handle three? It's not about one system being better. It's about which one turns you into the most effective threat, at the right moment, in the right place. Think your custom AR-15 with all the bells and whistles is pricey? Now step into the world of sniping, where precision has a price tag, and every detail is engineered for excellence at 1,000 yards and beyond. A true sniper rifle isn't just a gun. It's a precision instrument, painstakingly designed to perform in the harshest environments, under the most intense pressure, and over extreme distances where margin for error is measured in millimeters.
Let's talk numbers.
A high-end military-grade sniper rifle will usually run between $8,000 and $15,000, and that's just for the base weapon. The Macmillan TAC-50, famously used in the Canadian sniper's 3,540-meter world record kill, retails around $14,999.
Sounds insane?
It's not when you understand what you're buying. That price gets you match-grade barrels, hand-lap chambers, rigid free-floating chassis, adjustable stocks, and components crafted with sub-M weight tolerances. These aren't mass-produced rifles. You're getting the equivalent of a Formula One car in gun form.
But we're not done.
You'll also need high-quality optics, and if you want your hits to land consistently beyond a mile, your glass better be just as good as your barrel. A top-tier scope like a Schmidt & Bender PM2, Nightforce 8 ACR, or Leupold Mark V HD can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000, depending on the magnification, reticle, and durability features. Then there's the rest of the gear. Rangefinders, $500 to $2,000. Ballistic computers or apps with custom environmental data inputs. Tripods, bipods, suppressors, custom ammo, and let's not forget
training.
Because even with the best rifle in the world, if you don't know how to use it, it's just an expensive paperweight. Mastering wind calls, elevation holdovers, breathing control, and target acquisition under pressure takes years of study and practice. And here's the kicker: in the military, snipers don't just carry one rifle. Many are trained on multiple platforms and calibers depending on mission profiles, from urban overwatch to long-range recon. Each one comes with its own setup and its own cost. So yeah, sniping isn't cheap. But here's the truth: precision is never cheap, because in the sniper's world, you only get one shot. And when lives are on the line, whether on the battlefield or in a competition, that shot has to count. When people think of American snipers, one name inevitably rises to the top: Chris Kyle. With 160 confirmed kills, and many more unofficial, the Navy SEAL sniper earned a reputation not just as a skilled marksman, but as a protector of his brothers in arms. His story became legendary, immortalized in the 2014 blockbuster film American Sniper, directed by Clint Eastwood and starring Bradley Cooper. But behind the medals, the missions, and the kill count was a man shaped and scarred by war. Chris Kyle served 4 tours in Iraq, operating in some of the most volatile environments imaginable. His presence on Overwatch was so feared that insurgents gave him the nickname, the Devil of Ramadi. They put a bounty on his head. But his fellow soldiers? They called him something else. Guardian Angel. He was the one who watched their backs from rooftops. The one who made the shot when no one else could.
The one who brought them home.
Yet for all his battlefield success, Kyle's most profound battles came after the war, not with an enemy, but with the trauma left behind. Determined to help others navigate the same invisible wounds, Kyle dedicated his post-military life to supporting veterans dealing with PTSD. He gave speeches, wrote a best-selling memoir, and volunteered his time to those in need, including a troubled former Marine named Eddie Ray Routh. On February 2, 2013, Kyle and his friend Chad Littlefield took Routh to a Texas shooting range, hoping the calming focus of marksmanship might help ease his inner turmoil. Instead, in a tragic and senseless moment, Routh turned the gun on both of them. Chris Kyle died not on a battlefield, but trying to save someone else. Even in the end, he was doing what he'd always done: protecting others. His death was a harsh and heartbreaking reminder that the war doesn't always end when the uniform comes off. For many veterans, the battlefield follows them home, in memories, in silence, in unseen pain. Chris Kyle's legacy isn't just about the confirmed kills. It's about the lives he saved, the service he gave, and the truth he exposed, that sometimes the hardest shot to take isn't the one at 1,000 yards, but the ones you carry inside for a lifetime. In war, every bullet carries weight. But some bullets carry history. In December 2013, a 20-year-old British Army sniper stationed in Afghanistan was tasked with Overwatch. His role: keep eyes on a suspected threat approaching a checkpoint. What he saw through his scope was chilling. A man in traditional robes, moving with unnatural purpose. A bulge beneath his clothing. And a small group of armed men flanking him on both sides. The sniper's instincts kicked in.
Training took over.
This wasn't just any target, it was a suicide bomber. From 930 yards away, nearly 850 meters, he had seconds to decide. There was no margin for error. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and the bomber would detonate, killing nearby troops and civilians alike. But this wasn't a center-mass shot. The sniper didn't aim for the head or the chest. He aimed for the trigger switch, a pressure-sensitive device often hidden in the bomber's hand or chest rig, designed to instantly detonate. He squeezed the trigger. The bullet struck with precision.
The device detonated.
The explosion was catastrophic, but it was contained. The suicide bomber was killed instantly, along with 5 nearby insurgents. But the detonation occurred before they could reach the checkpoint, preventing what could have been a mass casualty event. No friendly forces were harmed. That single shot didn't just neutralize a threat, it saved dozens of lives. It transformed what could have been a devastating ambush into a surgical strike against terror. It was one of the most unbelievable, not because of the distance, but because of the nerve, timing, and sheer control required to fire at a detonation point from nearly a kilometer away. This wasn't luck.
It wasn't just aim.
It was a masterclass in calm under pressure, where the stakes were life and death, and the margin was milliseconds. In that moment, one bullet didn't just end 6 lives. It protected countless others. And it reminded us all. In the hands of the right sniper, a rifle doesn't just end a threat, it rewrites the outcome of the day. Accuracy International L115A3, used by Craig Harrison, this .338 Lapua beast can hit over 2,700 yards. Tested in -40 degrees Fahrenheit to 158 degrees Fahrenheit, it's a sniper's dream in any terrain. Seiko TRG M10, a modular multi-caliber rifle favored by elite Russian and European forces. Think of it as the Swiss Army knife of sniping. Barrett MRAD, a next-gen sniper system with fully modular barrels and ambidextrous controls. From 300 Win Mag to .338 Lapua, this rifle does it all, and folds down to go anywhere. Behind every shot is a story, and behind every sniper is a world of discipline, science, and deadly skill. If you've made it this far, you now know the shocking truth: sniping is more than a pull of the trigger, it's the art of invisible warfare. Speech balloon, drop a comment with your favorite sniper fact, hit like if this blew your mind, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth content on firearms, tactics, and military history. Until next time, stay focused, stay sharp, and respect the distance.